Buy or sell, the 49ers defense can survive the DeMeco Ryans growing pains, as severe as they may be. Ben.
I'm gonna buy on this one specifically because I think the 49ers have a very talented defense, and DeMeco Ryans has been working with a lot of these players, specifically Fred Warner, since he's entered the league. So I think considering the personnel that the 49ers have right now, the kind of experience they have, not only with DeMeco Ryans, but with Chris Kurseric, with the rest of this staff, I feel like it's going to be a more comfortable fit, at least at first, than the Robert Saleh fit was, because there's more carryover, there's more consistency. So I definitely buy into the idea that they can survive his growing pains, especially, like I said, with how talented they are. They have high-end players at almost every single level in the defense. You know, Jimmy Ward, Jason Verrett, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. Teams would die to have guys like that on their roster right now, let alone have one at each of those three levels on the defense. So, yeah, I'm going to buy into this, that they can definitely survive DeMeco Ryans' growing pains.
I'm going to go ahead and buy on this one as well. I think the 49ers have done a good job. You know, first thing I'm going to say is Ben was right there, that this is a continuation. It's not like the first year of Robert Saleh where he had to come in and totally build that defense and really create that whole thing. This has already kind of been built, so he's just taking it and tweaking it and putting his own little stamp on it. Plus, the 49ers have done a really good job of bringing in guys with defensive coordinator experience around him and I think that's going to help him out a little bit. He's got guys that have done that job in the past. You look at their schedule, I think that plays into their benefit too, because otherwise, if it wasn't the Lions and the Eagles in weeks 1 and 2, I would say that I might be leaning more towards a sell, especially early on. But with that schedule they have early, I think they're going to be okay. And by the time they start getting into the tougher teams, he's going to have his legs underneath him and be ready to go.
Yeah, I really want to buy this, but for argument's sake, I'm going to sell this. I'm going to sell this because I feel like if you have to overcome your defensive coordinators, or even, well, let's say your defensive coordinators' struggles, growing pains, deficiencies, whatever, at the end of the day, you're going to need an adequate pass rush, a very good pass rush. And I look at the Arizona Cardinals with Vance Joseph, who doesn't know anything, survives because that defensive line is really, really good. The 49ers defensive line could be really, really good, but I don't have faith in the edge rush. It's just too much of a mystery with Nick Bosa, D Ford, Ebicom, and all of them. Without a pass rush, even as great as Fred Warner is, as much as I love Dre Greenlaw, the safeties, the corners are okay. I just don't know how they're going to be able to stay in coverage. Could they survive him for a time? I don't know. I'm stuck. I think at the end of the day, if you're painting a picture of it, I don't think they're going to be able to survive him, especially if he's like calling like all-out blitzes if he's supposed to. He's sending Warner, sending Greenlaw, whoever, Al-Shahir down there. Too many holes that they can pick apart in offense. I think at that point, even if it does happen, I'd be worrying about having it a snowball effect where eventually DeMeco, it starts feeding into the players maybe, or DeMeco starts getting frustrated and calling out of his mind, because that's one thing we don't know about him, is if he's going to be controlled when he calls after when he gets a string of plays that don't work, or is he going to be able to set himself apart from that? But I think because it all kind of hinges on the edge rush or just the pass rush in general being able to save face for him.
Whew. Let me just try to brush off all that negativity that Jose was just spewing for the last 45 seconds. Oh my gosh. Like, I am totally buying that the defense is going to be fine, because I don't believe that DeMeco Ryans is going to have these huge growing pains. Like Jack was saying, he's going into a really good situation, and he's somebody who has the resume to be able to be a really good defensive coordinator. The position that he played when he was in the league was middle linebacker and the decision maker as well. So he was being able to read offensive. He was calling the plays for his team, and he was on parts of defenses that were really, really good. So I think him moving into this role with all the talent, and it was funny, Jose just listed how he thought that all the players on the defense were good, but somehow they were going to be bad because of DeMeco Ryans' bad juju or whatever it was. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, good players are good players. It's not like DeMeco Ryans is going to reinvent the wheel. They're going to be a little more aggressive, but they still have the same type of talent. They still have the relatively same overall scheme. They're coming off from being a top 5, at least ranked defense last season. And they didn't lose anybody that that really made a big impact last season that they didn't replace or upgrade with this season. So for me, I believe that this defense is not only going to do well under DeMeco Ryans, it's going to thrive under DeMeco Ryans, and we're going to see these guys flying all over the place and really being, one of the top defenses in the league.
He does have a lot going for him in the sense that he's not going to be changing much of the defense. He saw what Robert Saleh did with these players and is going to probably keep a lot of it the same. He's got Nick Bosa coming back. The addition of Ebukam is nice. And he's got Fred Warner. Let's not discount that. Fred Warner is almost like the coordinator of the defense. He's the best middle linebacker in the league. He's the quarterback of the defense. He does a lot of the stuff on the field. He calls the plays. So that helps to have him. That being said, I still think a couple of games are going to come down to an adjustment that he needs to make, DeMeco Ryans. And I don't know if he's going to make it in year one. Because Saleh didn't necessarily. I don't think that Saleh made an adjustment that I was aware of year one that won a game. Or year two. By year 3 and year 4, he was definitely doing that. That's kind of like something that comes with experience, I would guess. So while the defense should be good, it should be really good. I still wonder about, if DeMeco cost the Niners 1 or 2 games just because he didn't adjust quickly enough on the fly in the heat of the battle. Because that's what the Niners were really benefiting from the last couple of years, is a defensive coordinator who could do that, who was as good as anyone. So we'll see.